Hi, so today is August 2nd, 2023. And in the morning, I like to water my plants. I probably spend more time staring at them than I do actually watering them. It just really settles my mood. And so I guess since like the pandemic, I've increasingly sought activities that forced me to get off the internet, touch grass, if you will, and just get my head in a better space, a healthier space. And gardening is one of those things that I do. Another thing that I just recently took up, and this really is what kind of like inspired me to do this video today, is I'm working on creating a sourdough starter. I do remember during the pandemic, there were all of these people or at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of people took up sourdough bread baking. Now, I've baked a few loaves of bread, like some lean dough breads, and those are complicated and time consuming enough. I don't know why so many people decided to start sourdough baking. I guess it makes sense because it is a time consuming process, but it definitely is not something that I felt comfortable doing the first time I baked bread. It was just like, let me do something small. And so that's what really, that's what I really wanted to talk about, was like just doing small things. I don't know if these are like any words of wisdom to anyone, and if you've heard this before, I just want to remind you about how important it is to do small things habitually, consistently. And I also wanted to talk about some of the things that I'm currently doing that I just decided that, hey, I'm in it for the long run. Success is years away, or what looks like achieving the goal is years away, and I accept that. So one of the things that I've been working with my son on since he was 3, almost 4 years old, but a few months before his 4th birthday, I started teaching him how to read. And he was able to read like some simple words shortly before he turned 4 years old. But it was really difficult in the beginning, primarily because I didn't know what I was doing. And also, looking back on it, I expected too much from my young son. But there did come a point where I was just like, it doesn't matter how much progress he makes during the day, because we're just going to do it again tomorrow. And I will also have to reassure him of that, like, I'm in it for the long haul. Like, I'm not going to throw my hands up and be like, oh, I guess my son can't read. So I just accepted that this is something that we're gonna have to do every day. Now, there were some periods where I kind of didn't do it every day. I got kind of lazy, but for the most part, for going on 2 years, we have done a reading lesson about every day. And so right now, and for the last few months, I just shoot for 10 minutes. We've actually been doing 10 minutes a day for probably over a year. I think at one point it was 15 minutes, but I like 10 minutes. My son knows it's only going to be 10 minutes, and he can, do something else. And so we do that every day, and he is making a lot of progress. I think like now that he's older and he's been, reading for a while, he is getting better and better. And that was the promise that I made to him. And lo and behold, this is what happens when you practice at something. So it's like, that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I've heard that many times before, and you probably have too. But, I never thought about, okay, like literally, how would you eat an elephant? And how would the elephant taste? Right? So the elephant might be delicious, and it might taste terrible. Depending on what it is you want to accomplish or what you hope to get out of eating that elephant, will depend on whether or not you're gonna want to commit to eating it. Like if you really enjoy the journey, then you're more likely to eat the elephant. And also if the outcome is great. So if it's like, oh, this is a wonderful outcome and the journey is great, then of course I'm gonna do it. Like, you don't need any motivation to do that. Where you need the motivation probably is when the elephant tastes terrible. It's big, it's nasty, it's tough, okay? It just don't taste good. It could be flavorless, okay? But you gotta eat the elephant if you want this wonderful thing to happen to you, or avoid a terrible thing from happening to you. But, I just wanted to emphasize the importance of small actions. And then I also want to talk a little bit about some other things that, like I kind of think about in my life, and you feel free to let me know, like, little elephants that you eat. So for instance, I used to be so intimidated about growing things from seed back to gardening. And the first year I gardened, I basically just equipped myself with as much knowledge as I could, like found a methodology that could work for me. So I started with square foot gardening and then also vertical gardening, and just decided, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna try to start small. And so I initially started growing indoors. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna see what I can grow. I actually started in December 2020. Was it December 2020? It might have been December 2020. I think it was. I'm gonna start by, it might have been 2021. I can't remember. I might have started growing. Yeah, no, it was 2020. I think it was 2020. Okay, so I started growing indoors, set up my lights. That in and of itself was a process, but like I worked through it, and I was like, I'm gonna grow lettuce because I heard lettuce was really easy to grow. I even experimented with different soil mediums or growing mediums, and it was pretty easy. So I was like, oh, I can grow lettuce. I can grow parsley. I grew, like a few things. And then I grew outdoors in like my little square foot garden. And so I started small, and just doing something, especially with like a new thing, like just taking a very small step, like, you know what? I take it back. I even started smaller. I started with a square foot, not square foot garden, it was called a smart garden. So even before I got soil for my lettuce, I was like, oh, I'm gonna start growing with the smart garden. A smart garden is basically like this structure that has like an LED light on it, and then you can get like little pods that go into the garden, and then like you water it. It's like a whole electronic system with the built-in lighting, and basically kind of like think of the coffee pods, like the Keurig coffee pods. It's up for plants, and so you can get like tomatoes, basil, different types of herbs. It's like a whole thing. And so I was like, I'm gonna try to at least grow indoors. And I used to have it in my office. I'm gonna try to grow indoors using a device specifically for people who are absolutely brand new at growing. So it's like, the person who doesn't even know how to make a cup of coffee, like they can get a decent cup of coffee. So that's where I started. So really starting like low stakes, easy peasy, and like building your confidence up from there. Now I'm trying to think about what I'm gonna do next with my garden, but I'm not gonna get into that because I'm just talking about motivating yourself to embark on a long journey to accomplish a major goal. And that's it. So I was inspired today. I love looking at my garden. I'm really excited to make sourdough bread. I love that stuff. I love like using my mind to create. Love it. Okay, so that's all I have to say today. Bye.